Hey guys, how are you? Why I make this mess? Of course, because the pandemic of COVID-19, we must to keep our healthy, stay at home and stay safe. By the way, we want to explain to you guys something. What's that? I want to explain the material of chapter 2 of Middle Financial Accounting. If you want to know what is content on chapter 2 of Middle Financial Accounting, follow us. First, short-term liabilities and long-term liabilities. So, according to PSAK 1 Reserve 2013, presentation of financial statement liability is classified as a short-term liability if 1. The entity expects to settle the liability in its normal operating cycle. 2. The entity has such liabilities for trading purposes. 3. The liability are due to be settled within 12 months after the reporting period. Or 4. Entities don't have the unconditional right to delay the settlement of liabilities for at least 12 months after the reporting period. Liabilities that do not fall into the category are classified as long-term liabilities. Some examples of long-term liabilities are maybe bond debt, notes payable, rental liabilities, pension liabilities, different tax liabilities. In this chapter, the discussion of long-term liabilities is focused on long-term liabilities, which are financial liabilities, especially in the form of bonds and notes payable. This is the material about long-term liabilities and short-term liabilities. Next is open illustration about IDX that 5 companies issued IDR 5.7 trillion bonds. Okay, Director of Corporate Valuation of Indonesian Stock Exchange or IDX, Company Hosen said that currently there are 5 companies that will issue corporate bonds in the Indonesian capital market with an emission value of around 5.7 trillion rupiah. The 5 companies are PT Profesional Telekomunikasi Indonesia, PT Jasa Marga Terbuka or JSMR, PT Duta Anggota Realty Terbuka or DART, PT Surya Arta Nusantara Finance, and PT Ciputra Residence. It is estimated that the 5 issuers will register bonds in the August till October at 2013 period, he said. Thus, he added, if combined with 45 emission from 40 issuers that had issued bond in the first half of 2013 failed at 43,840 trillion rupiah. The total bond issuance throughout the year were around 50 trillion rupiah. Guys, cool, right? Yeah.
Here I will explain example of long-term liabilities. The first, bond. Bond is a term used in the financial world which is a statement of debt from the bond issuer to the bondholders along with a promise to repay the principal and the coupon later on the payment due date. The bond issuers in the borrower or debtor, whereas bondholders are lenders or creditors, and bond coupons are loan interest to be paid by debtor to creditors. With the issuance of these bonds, it is possible for bonds issuers to obtain long-term investment financing with sources of funds from outside the company. Types of bonds. There are 3 types of bonds, namely 1. Government bonds, namely bonds in the form of government securities issued by the government of the Republic of Indonesia. 2. Corporate bonds, namely bonds in the form of bonds issued by Indonesian corporations, both BUMN and BUMD. 3. Retail bonds, that is, bonds issued by the government which are sold to individuals or individuals through selling agents appointed by the government. The second, note payable. Notes payable are debt securities issued by a company or entity that are used to pay business that are past due. This means notes payable are made by companies that have debt obligations to other parties. Therefore, notes payable can also be referred to as notes payable. In more detail in accounting, a notes payable is a written agreement made by a company to pay to a creditor a certain amount including interest at an agreed rate. The characteristics of notes payable are as follows. Journal of notes payable is presented from the borrower's viewpoint. Payment notes increase on the credit side. Notes payable include liabilities. The third, rental liabilities. Lease liability is a lease that is already an obligation of the company in a certain period to pay it, but the amount has not been paid by the company, so it is still a debt to the company. A brief example is suppose a company rents a building, so this building will be used first, and after the specific maturity, then the building rent is paid. The fourth, pension liabilities or post-retirement. Liabilities pension is a promise to pay certain amounts to pensioners. This liabilities is determined by the amount to be paid, the expected retirement period to be paid, and the period before retirement is paid. Deferred tax liabilities. Deferred tax liabilities are the amount of income tax payable in the future period as a result of taxable temporary differences. This definition also gave rise to the concept of award in the coming period. Temporary or time difference is the difference between the carrying amount of the obligation and the tax base.
On issuance. Now, I will explain the material about the agreement. Thus, the fair price of a liability or selling price can differ from its face value. Nominal value is the value promised to be issued by the liability issuer when the liability is due. If the selling price is higher than the nominal value, then the liability is sold at a premium price. When the purchase price is higher than the nominal value, then it is sold at a discount. The difference arises as the effective interest rate differs from the coupon rate. Here are the answers to make it easier to understand. First, the effective interest rate is less than the coupon rate, so it becomes a liability sold at a premium price. Second, the effective interest rate equal to the coupon rate will be the liability sold at face value. And third, the effective interest rate more than the coupon rate will be the liability sold at a discount. Now I will explain about issuance of notes payable. Thus, the accounting treatment for bonds and notes payable is relatively the same. That is, notes payable are valued at the present value of future payment, cash flows, or both principal and interest. In this section, the discussion of notes payable is related to the various forms of consideration received by the company in issuing the notes. There are three types of issuance of notes payable, namely issuance in cash, non-cash issuance, issuance in cash, and certain rights. First is issuance in cash. That is, the present value of the notes issued in cash is assumed to be the same as the amount of cash received by the entity. The interest rate to be used for the calculation of amortization is the interest rate that causes the present value of future cash payments to be the same as the current cash received. Then, the second is non-cash issuance. That is, an entity can receive goods or services from the issuance of notes payable. Notes payable are recorded at the fair value of the goods or services or the present value of the notes payable using market interest rates, whichever is more valuable for use. If the value is different from the nominal value of the notes payable, then the entity records a discount or premium. And the third is the issuance in cash and certain rights. There are times when an entity issues a note payable at an interest rate that is lower than the reasonable interest rate. As compensation for the interest rate, an entity gives certain rights to the buyer of the note payable. For example, the entity agrees to sell merchandise to the buyer at a price lower than the normal selling price of the item. The entity must recognize the difference or discount between cash received and the present value of the note payable using market interest rates as income received in advance. Oh my god, guys! I'm so sorry. We forgot to introduce our name. We consist of 3 people. The first one earlier is Rezyndiva Dantik Kurniawan. The second one is Safril Padang, and me, Satria Maheswara.
It is the end of our explanation about the material of chapter 2 of middle financial accounting. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to tag your friends who need to know about the material of chapter 2. And keep healthy, stay safe, and stay at home. Bye.